Welcome to the Emisarios Unidos de Luz channel. If you enjoy this near-death experience story, consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel.
Now let's start with the story.
In 2021, I had to be rushed to the hospital for an emergency cesarean due to complications with my pregnancy, and it was during a period of unconsciousness that I left my body.
"We're losing her," I could hear the doctor saying as they attempted to revive me.
I was watching from a position above the operating table, the doctor and nurses performing CPR on my body as they attempted to revive me. "Prepare the defibrillator," I remember hearing the doctor say before I began to accelerate upward. I was traveling upward, but very briefly, when I suddenly arrived at the most fantastic and awe-inspiring Crystal City. In my astonishment, I stood there transfixed by the indescribable beauty and magnificence of the vision before me. "Welcome, Gwen.
"We've been expecting you," I heard a voice say in my mind.
I looked around to try and identify who was speaking. The being I saw as I turned appeared to be a bearded man with brown eyes and the most beautiful smile that I have ever seen. He had a tanned complexion, and he wore a robe with a golden sash.
"You were waiting for me?" I asked him. "Yes," he replied. "Why were you waiting for me?" I asked him.
"Gwen, you have completed your mission, and it is time for you to come home," he gently replied.
"No, it cannot be.
I have just given birth, and I need to be there for my baby," I countered anxiously. Although I felt such elation and was so at peace in that place, I knew that my children needed me. "Why do you wish to go back so badly?" the man asked, seemingly puzzled by my eagerness.
"I need to be there for my children. Please let me go back to them," I pleaded. "You have all of your loved ones here for you. Are you willing to give all of that up?" he asked. "I am," I said.
"You're the first soul to beg to go back, rather than begging to stay," he said while smiling.
"Your body isn't ready for you to go back.
If you go back now, that body will die, and you will not be able to return."
"Walk with me," the man ordered while offering his hand. I grabbed his hand, and we then began our walk together through the Crystal City.
The love I could feel in his touch made me second-guess my decision to return to life on Earth. As we walked through the streets of the Crystal City, a series of images began to appear before me as I began a life review.
Those images that appeared before me dated back to my soul's inception, and specifically, to the moment of my birth from the mouth of God, as He breathed me into existence.
I saw myself begging God to send me to Earth to be with the parents that I had chosen, and I saw myself getting married. I was witness to the birth of my children in that life review, and I saw myself die on the operating table. At the end of the life review, I found myself holding on to the man as I cried.
"It's okay," he said reassuringly as he held on to me. "It happens to everyone when they experience their life from the perspective of my Father," he said. It was then that it occurred to me that the man I was with was, in fact, Jesus. How could I have not realized that I was there with Jesus, I wondered. "My Lord, forgive me for not recognizing you. Please forgive my ignorance," I asked. "There is no need for you to beg for forgiveness. Heaven will be waiting for your return," he replied. Jesus showed me within the city the home that his Father had prepared for me.
The more that he showed me, the more I found that I wanted to stay. "You don't have to go back," he reminded me, sensing my desire to stay.
I did end up going back to my earthly life, but before I left that place, I was shown in a vision a possible future for the Earth.
I saw that in 2042, there will be a great earthquake that splits not only the western United States but also most of Asia. I saw parts of California swallowed by the sea, and Japan and Korea were wiped off the face of the earth. This in turn leads to a lot of small wars, which by 2048 will escalate into a world war. As with all wars, everything was fought over resources. The war finally ends in 2053, but not before the three major superpowers, Russia, China, and the United States, come close to an all-out nuclear war. "It is time for you to return," Jesus said to me suddenly.
"I'm ready," I replied. The next thing I knew, I was back in my body.
"Hit her again," I heard the doctor say as I came to.
While I recovered, I kept asking the nurses how long I had been dead.
The nurses only responded with a look of disquiet in their eyes and a desire to change the subject, and eventually, I stopped asking. I don't know if I was dead for minutes or even seconds, but I do know that I was in a place that was my true home and that I decided to come back to Earth for my children.
Even though I experienced complications during pregnancy, My son was born healthy, and I have God to thank for that.